Hello and welcome to the Uncapped Podcast, brought to you by Roasthouse Pub, one of Frederick's finest craft beer and culinary destinations, where great people come to drink amazing beer. Visit them to track their taps and menu at roasthousepub.com or download the digital Pour app to track what's on tap. This is episode 102, and I'm your host, Chris Sands. This being the third attempt at trying to start this episode, we may actually get it to work this time. So far, so good. We've made it the furthest amount of time yet. This week, we're going to talk about the Hops and Harvest Festival and the Maryland Brewery Tours with Brad Murphy and Chad. I didn't even add Diamore.
Yeah.
You start adding in added punctuation and last names. I'm never quite sure where, and I screw it up every week anyway. So, gentlemen, first let me, the name of the company is CoFestCo. What do each of you gentlemen do for CoFestCo?
So I'm the founder of CoFestCo. Started about 3 years ago, and I wear all the hats. Do everything from mopping the floors
and you are
to
Chad,
the graphic design
for people who are just listening,
to all the fun stuff. Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything.
So what all is there additional things that CoFestCo does other than the brewery tours and the Hops and Harvest Festival?
Yep.
What else do you do?
So outside of those two things, we also have a client portfolio. So we manage and produce events and venues for other folks as well.
Which is one of my full-time or more full-time things for CoFestCo is actually managing all the events that go through Symphony Woods at Meriwether Park.
Okay, awesome. So it's only semi-recently you've gotten into craft beer, right? Like the craft beer festivals and tours.
Yeah, so we started
years.
off with the Hops and Harvest Festival 3 years ago. And that was really focused around craft beer year one. We've since opened it up to include Maryland wine and Maryland spirits, but that's kind of what the impetus for starting CoFestCo was to do a craft beer festival.
Okay. So when you decided to do that, was it just a market segment that you saw and it was like, hey, there's a hole in this segment I could fill, or have you always been passionate about craft beer and you wanted some way to? So
that's part of it for sure. So I've done event production on the side for about 11, 12 years now, and I was looking to go out on my own and always wanted to start my own business, and I know event production well. And I helped start a couple of beer festivals and festivals down in D.C., which is where my background mostly is in the D.C. market. I'm from Columbia. I moved back to Columbia a couple years ago, bought a house, and looked around and said, there's nobody really doing this here. There's a ton of development happening in Columbia just as far as infrastructure and a big push to revitalize downtown. And so it was really easy to connect those dots. So that's kind of where it all came from. Definitely love craft beer, always have. Being a part of it with the other events. It just is, honestly, as a consumer and as a patron of tap rooms, I just love the vibe. I love the people. One of the things I love about craft beer in particular is that the brewers and the people who start breweries are just all super cool people, and you can really see and feel their passion in their tap rooms and in their product, and it's just a cool vibe.
Yeah, there's definitely a certain personality that 100% fits in. Well, maybe not 100. There's definitely outliers, but for the vast majority of people who open a brewery are of a very similar personality.
Yeah.
And talking with a lot of them, the first year we threw Hops and Harvest was what kind of was the impetus for the Maryland Brewery Tours, because we kept hearing that there's no real cohesive way to get from one to another and do it safely. And so we kind of rolled that ball and threw it out there and started selling them out within a couple months, actually, in Howard County, which was really fantastic.
Yeah. So was the first year of Hops and Harvest Festival, was that only craft beer, or did you have all three industries for the first year also?
Probably 85 or 90% craft beer.
Okay.
And then I think there was one or two distilleries and one or two wineries.
Yeah.
But it was very heavily weighted towards craft beer.
Last year was much closer to an even mix, though, right?
There was
maybe still more breweries.
Still more breweries, and then there were
probably,
and then the other percentage was split between wineries and distilleries.
Okay.
This year we have a really good representation of distilleries as well. We still have a ton of breweries, obviously, but I think our roster right now is at 30 different Maryland craft or artisan beverage producers. So it should be a good showing for sure.
Well, I know last year you definitely had some of the best there because there was the three off the top of my head I remember going to were McClintock, 10th Ward, Lion. I feel horrible because I know there was other ones that I really liked that were there, but I don't remember
there were a couple more. Grey Wolf was there.
Yes,
they were really good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
So let's talk a little bit more about the festival and when is it this year?
September 29th.
And where is it?
It's in Columbia, Maryland, at the lakefront. So it's kind of right between Clyde's and Whole Foods.
Very close to the mall, right off of Little Patuxent Parkway.
Yeah.
Easy to get to off of 70 and 29.
And one of the best features of the location is that it's within walking distance of a hotel.
Absolutely.
And the Sheraton has been gracious enough to give us a discounted room rate. The link's up on the website. You can find it on social too. So if you're coming in from out of town, if you're looking for a place to continue the party, the Sheraton has been an awesome host.
That is what my wife and I did last year.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thankfully, we made that decision ahead of time because
and it's like 100 yards. When we say close, it's really close.
Oh yeah, it's well within stumbling distance.
Yes.
And the Whole Foods is right there too to grab some snacks to take back to your room as you're stumbling around.
And we do have great food trucks there during the day as well.
Yeah, and there are enough there that the lines weren't horrible for them throughout the whole time. Cause there was,
I think last year we had 7 or 8, and this year we have 7, I believe.
About the same.
Yeah.
So I think we're 8 or 9. There's one that's kind of working out licensing, but we should be around the same number. We went for more variety this year. Last year we were a little bit heavy on the barbecue, so we have a little bit more variety this year. And we have some of the new guys are Jimmy's Famous Seafood. They're going to be doing crab cakes.
Very excited to have them out.
Nice.
Yeah. Say Cheese. They do like grilled cheese or macaroni and cheese and brisket sandwiches that are just
the
unreal.
Krabby Patty's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. We have River House Pizza. It's doing brick oven pizza. We have Giggy's Barbecue doing barbecue. We have Goganics for your more organic vegan type options, and a bunch of
have their setup out there too. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay.
But we have a couple dessert things too. We have Be More Mochichi, which is like a Asian fusion ice cream.
Mochi.
Yeah, whatever.
What does that
Mochi.
mean? Like I can't even wrap my head around what that would mean.
Mochi is like a rice flour dough, like a dessert dough that you wrap around an actual dollop of ice cream, and they're very tasty.
Yeah. We also have Tasty Teas Donuts, which is basically an ice cream sandwich with a donut. And Holy Crepes, which does both sweet and savory. So
think I've
a
had
lot of
them
really
before.
good food. Yeah.
And there's entertainment, correct?
Yep. Frederick's own Vinyl Rhino.
Yep.
They're
Very
gonna be
excited to
coming
have
out
them
again.
back for their second year.
Yeah. And then we also have DJ Chris Tharp. And if you want to call games entertainment, we have a whole bunch of games, all your favorite lawn games and some board games and stuff like
Lawn
that.
darts.
No lawn darts.
We have
those were outlawed in like the 90s.
Yeah.
I used
I used to
to
skip
have
those down the street and make sparks. Neighbors didn't like it.
Or like throw them over your house and try to hit a hula hoop on the back.
I don't know. Me and myself and my moron cousins, my grandparents had a farm. We would go out in their yard and we would just toss them up straight in the air. It's amazing someone didn't die.
Yeah.
Because a little while ago I saw it was a meme type thing where it was like anyone who grew up in the 70s should be dead, and it lists like or was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s should be dead, and like lawn darts was listed as one of the reasons why no one should have survived.
We have like a giant Jenga and bear pong, cornhole.
For those that don't know, Bear Pong is actually a Maryland guy started that. He's out of Rockville.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the first, only actually, I think the only place for a while that I ever saw it. And
Yeah, he's a Maryland guy.
It's a good game.
Sticking to the
entrepreneurs in
Maryland,
Maryland. Yeah. And is it in 2 sessions?
Two
correct?
sessions.
Okay.
Yep. There's a midday, which is noon to 4, and a twilight, which is 5 to 9.
Okay.
So basically the same program on each of them. Your Vinyl Rhino is going to be playing both sessions. Chris Tharp's going to be DJing both sessions, and same vendors, same breweries, everything for both.
And the price of admission is
$40.
And as many sample
Unlimited
as much
samples.
as
Unlimited tastings, yeah. And then there's also a designated driver ticket, and there's a youth ticket. We are family friendly, so.
Oh yeah, we do have a big kids area, which last year went off really, really well. We bring out it's called an imagination station. It's a big playground of foam blocks that kids can sit together and play with, and there was like a little tunnel set up for them to crawl through, but it was a good half an acre probably for the kids area, and that was a really popular attraction for us last year, so we're hoping that works out again this year too.
So just yesterday, once again, the big debate of children at breweries popped up again. What are your thoughts on that? Actually, no, I'll say mine first.
Okay.
I don't know.
It was Union that posted.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't going to name them, but I think they handled it absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. I rarely take them to breweries, not because I think it's like not for any moral things. I just want to enjoy myself if they're there,
Sure.
because I spend so much time worrying that they're going to cause a problem or bother other people.
Sure.
So I'm firmly in the camp of agreeing with them that having a time frame when there are no kids there is great, because kids aren't the problem. It's horrible parents. And the problem is there are so many horrible parents that just let their kids run amok and run around like it's their living room.
Right.
And all I kept thinking about as I was reading stuff was, would you allow your kid to behave that way at a restaurant? Because that's more or less what you're at.
Right.
And I would hope people who let their kids run around like crazy at breweries would not allow their kids to run around like crazy at a restaurant. Maybe they do there also and should be banned from those locations.
I would be willing to bet they're in the same camp there too. Yeah.
So I
agree with you 100%. I think the request was to keep them at your table. So that's kind of why we set up a dedicated area for kids, because we don't have the same problem because we have such a large area.
Yeah, and you're providing things to do.
Right.
And also, I think one of the strongest points that Union made was they have this brand new facility that they just spent a lot of effort, sweat, and money on.
Yeah.
And kids are ruining it by not respecting. Yeah, because that's another thing parents don't like to teach their kids is to respect other people's property.
Yeah. It's a good moral. It's a good lesson to teach your kids. This is a good opportunity to pass on that lesson.
So yeah, I mean, like at festivals that provide like a kids area or activities room, I have no problem with that, because like there's several I've been to like that where I'll take my kid, like I'll get my drink, take my kid over to where there is the bounce house or whatever is being provided, and everyone has fun.
Well, here's what you could do. You could get a designated driver ticket for your babysitter and have your babysitter watch your kids and drive you home.
That's a good idea. I'd never thought of that.
Yes.
You should babysitting everybody.
You should have like a special package for that.
I've actually thought about that. I'm not quite sure how to do it logistically, but it's definitely crossed my mind.
Yeah, like have the babysitter package where like you buy 2, you get a discount on it.
Partner with care.com or somebody like that that does all the like. There's a platform for, independent consulting babysitters or whatever, however it is. But yeah, so family friendly. One way. If you like it or not, we are family friendly.
Well, I actually don't even remember kids being there last year,
because it's kind of tucked off from the main square area, which again works out.
That makes sense. And if there's things to keep kids occupied, they're going to stay. They're going to much rather do activity type things than wander around a crowd of people, or they'll go out and they'll stand in front of the stage and they'll be cute and sing along and dance.
Right, exactly.
Which is also completely fine.
Yeah. Yes. Everybody pull out your phones, start recording.
My question was more of like, it just popped into my head, like thoughts on kids at breweries, because I don't think I've ever discussed that with anyone on the show before.
I'm in your camp.
Yeah, I'm totally for it. I think there's probably an age where that should cease to be called like a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you have a young adult with you, that's a different conversation. But if you have someone that's like 4 or 5 years or younger that you are capable of controlling and they are a respectable kid, then I'm all for it.
And I think one of the points is it's not a place where you can go and just forget that your kid's there. It's not like it's the place to have free range children. You still need to watch them.
You're not at your friend's backyard drinking with your buddies.
Right.
And then there's also like a lot of people pointed out, and these were like the hardcore keep your kids away from me, that no parent should ever have even a single drink while they're driving their kids around. So like there is that aspect of it to think about too.
Well, this comes back to the babysitter, man.
Yeah.
Well, it also depends on, is it a married couple coming out and one of them's being the DD so that the other one can enjoy
which
themselves,
is typical.
which is fine because that's what I usually see.
Yeah, and that's typically the situation I'm in too. Is that my wife, one of us, is not drinking. So those were just that fell in line with the people of like my dog is my kid, and if my dog isn't allowed, your kid shouldn't be allowed, which I found to be a weird argument.
Yeah, I got 2 dogs, and that might be a little extreme even.
People get very passionate about a lot of things.
Yeah, particularly pets and kids.
Yeah. All right, so there's a kids area. There were other vendors there last year also. So same thing, there will be...
Yeah, so we have a variety of what we call artisans, right? There are people who they're doing craft jerky or jam or roasted nuts or spices or home food services or art or jewelry or, handmade soaps. But they're all Maryland vendors, and these are the artisans themselves. They're the ones that are actually producing these products. So it's all small businesses, locally owned and operated, that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
And you gave the hours of the 2 time frames, right?
Noon to 4, and then the second session is 5 to 9.
Yeah, cool. So is there anything else that we should know about the festival before we move on to our other talking points? Yeah. I agree with that because I really did enjoy the Hops and Harvest Festival last year. It was a nice mixture of I do like some wine now, so I can't say I don't like wine, but I ignored the wine there. But it was nice to, I had never had Lion's spirits before then, so it was nice to be able to try theirs. I had way too many gin and tonics at McClintock. And then there's a nice mixture of breweries from across the state also. There was a few places that I got to try things from that I'd never had from them before.
I'm really excited about our breweries. We have some of the biggest ones. We have Flying Dog. We have Heavy Seas. Guinness is going to be there, which is, I think, a good way to kind of welcome them into the neighborhood. They're right up the street from us. But we also have a lot of the newer ones. We have True Respite, who's new this year. We have Crooked Crab is going to be there, who's also new. We have a lot of the local hometown heroes, the Howard County guys, and then we have Evo coming in from a little ways away, who has just amazing beer. So
just won the second year in a row the Best in Show for what did they win it for this year? The Pilsner? Was it
It was delicious, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name
as determined by a panel of judges. And
I remember tasting this and be like, I get it. I absolutely understand why this won. It was delicious. Yeah. So we have a really, really great variety of folks coming this year.
So let's take a real quick break to thank the sponsors that make the Uncapped Podcast possible. A huge thank you to our presenting sponsor, Roasthouse Pub, which is located at 5700 Urbana Pike in Frederick, Maryland. If you have listened to this podcast before, you have definitely heard me go on and on about the beer dinners that Chef Nico creates. Simply put, they are amazing. But Roasthouse Pub has much more to offer. Their friendly staff is knowledgeable about beer and will help you choose from among the 20 beers they have on tap. In addition to the awesome beer selection, the food is always amazing. Make sure to follow them on Facebook and check their website at www.roasthousepub.com to keep up to date on their constant stream of events. And thank you to our supporting sponsor, Craft Alliance Packaging Solutions. Craft Alliance Packaging Solutions has been serving the craft beverage industry since 2012 and prides itself in helping their customers excel in a constantly growing industry. From concept to cooler, CAPS offers solutions to your packaging needs, providing mobile bottling services, technical support, keg repair, rental bright tanks, and much more. It is their goal to help you grow your brand and your business and make your product stand out. Be different, look different. For more information, visit capsbottles.com. Yes, you mentioned Flying Dog. That's earlier what we were drinking was the Neon Freedom Meyer Lemon Goza, which I've been on a huge Goza and sour kick lately.
Yeah.
In fact, I was at a conference a couple weeks ago for beer writers and spent it was a Thursday to a Monday at levels of buzz to drunk the entire time. And at one point I was like, I gotta stop drinking Gozas and sours because it was like I could just feel heartburn coming on. There's way too much acidity. But now it's not a Maryland product, but East End Brewing in Pittsburgh, and it's their watermelon, seedless watermelon Goza. I absolutely love this beer. It is one of the most refreshing summer beers I think that exists.
Yes.
It reminds me of the 21A Hell or High Watermelon.
Yes.
Yeah.
But better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
really good.
agree with
Because
that,
I think
definitely.
Hell or High Watermelon's a Hefeweizen though, right? Isn't it?
It's a sour.
Is it a sour?
Yeah.
I'm thinking someone else makes a watermelon Hefeweizen. But yeah, I absolutely love this beer.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
And it comes in 16-ounce cans, which I believe makes everything better. if I've read correctly.
Yes.
All right, so have we covered everything about the festival that we need to? Does everyone have all the...
If we haven't covered it, you can find it on Facebook or the website.
Which is...
The website is hopsandharvestfest.com, and it's Hops and Harvest Festival on Facebook. And we also have an Instagram and a Twitter. So if we haven't covered it, you can find the information there. And again, it's September 29th in Columbia, Maryland, Lakefront.
And will there be... It usually sells out, right? Did it sell out last year?
We're kind of close.
So don't wait till day of at the door.
Yeah.
I would get them early.
Because I know the session I was at was sold out last year.
Or you miss 30 minutes of drinking time by waiting in line.
Yeah. there was definitely... People showed up early to stand in line to get to there.
And I was actually, one of the things I was most impressed about from our team internally is we cranked through that line. People were moving.
Yeah.
So even though it was long, we kept it churning. So.
Yeah, because BAM helps out with that, right?
Yeah, so BAM helps basically with the registration of all the breweries, and they're kind of the liaison with all of the, well, not just the breweries, though, with the wineries and the distilleries as well.
Yeah, the Grow and Fortify umbrella of all the organizations.
Yeah, we like those guys a lot.
Yeah, shout out Kevin Eddix. Thanks, buddy.
So the next thing we want to talk about is actually, speaking of BAM, and since I ran into you, how amazing was Revive?
It was incredible.
That especially for a first year event, like I could not have been more impressed with how great of a job they did at throwing that.
They really did. The venue was phenomenal. It was, 300-acre Franciscan Friars house. I don't know what the right
I think
word
it was
is.
a chapel. Was St. I don't know, a big fancy building.
Yeah,
owned
and it
by
was absolutely gorgeous. These libraries and this stonework and this cast iron work, and what I think I liked the best was how they paired the beer with, or the brewery with a restaurant, and a beer with a particular dish. I've never done a beer and food pairing that was that classy. I mean, it was all phenomenal. It was a great event.
Yeah, the pairings were perfect.
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
I had never had the pulled filet, so I was really interested to see how that played. I really liked that one a lot.
That was Manor Hill and Owen's Ordinary?
I don't remember. So I'm just going to leave it there. But it was awesome. It was really, really good.
So I loved the pairing of Union 6 Up and the Savide or Ceviche. Ceviche, not Savide. Different things.
Sous vide what?
I remember it by like where I was standing in the room, so I can't. So it's hard. I'm not recalling it very well.
But yeah, the anyone who didn't go there this year, you should. I think they're definitely going to do it again next year.
I hope so. It was great.
I would highly recommend people going to it because it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
amazing
really
food, great beer. Well, I mean, they're all the medal winners, so obviously they're good. Someone thought they were good. Yeah, they were.
The atmosphere was phenomenal. The food was phenomenal. It was a great crowd of people.
Yeah.
Everybody there really was into it, and you could tell.
Yeah, you guys need to do that again next year so I can come. I missed out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You weren't there. Well, I mean, you could have been there, and I just didn't see you. But
I was not there, unfortunately.
You missed out on an amazing event.
That was. I have to give a shout out to Amanda from Howard County Tourism. Howard County Tourism approached me and said, "Hey, we really love what you did. We have something called Howard on Tap, which is basically a craft beer trail." At that point, everybody was taking themselves to these different places, and there were...
It was a little disconnected. So you had to show up at the Howard County Tourism office, pick up a pamphlet, and then take yourself to 4 different breweries, get a stamp, and then bring the pamphlet back to the Howard County Tourism Board, and then you'd get a pint glass for it.
So basically, it wasn't in their mission or charter to operate a brewery tour. So she said, "Hey, we really like what you did. Is this something that you'd be interested in partnering on?" We kicked it back and forth for a couple of months to really see if it was a viable concept, and we decided to go for it. And we started in Howard County last July, and then we pretty quickly expanded out to Frederick and Montgomery and Baltimore County. So we're operating those 4 areas now, and then we have our eyes set on Hartford County, just kind of like the Bel Air area, Arundel County. We've talked to the folks out in Queen Anne, like the Ocean City area. I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying this, but we're throwing around the idea of planning a trip out to the shore, stopping at a couple breweries on the way.
A weekend with Maryland brewery tours.
Yeah, so doing some kind of extended trips.
Logistically, that would be, I'm sure, a real pain.
It's all pain logistically.
Yeah, it's not any much more difficult than doing a regular tour to do that, and I've actually done a lot of the legwork for that, and it seems like we can do it for a pretty reasonable price. So next year we're looking at what times of year we want to do that.
Yeah, I would think part of the problem with those types of things is like that hotel stay adds such a large chunk to the price that you get sticker shock off the bat. But you like your mind's not accounting for how much a stay in a hotel costs.
What if we threw it like on the same weekend as Ravens Beach Week next year? People from Frederick or Ravens fans from Maryland would be like, all right, well, if I get, don't quote me on the price, but if I get a...
I wouldn't say a price. Don't even go there yet.
If I get a ticket that includes my hotel stay, plus I get to stop at 2 breweries and a distillery on the way down, I get free drinks at each of them, and then they buy me a mimosa at my brunch on the way back. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Plus, you don't have to drive.
Yeah.
And you get dropped off at the same spot.
And one of the great things about these tours is that we'll get a bus. It could be like a 56-passenger motor coach. We could have anywhere from 30 to 50 people on it. And you show up and everybody's, friendly, but still very much in their bubble in the morning.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, everybody's singing
Everyone's best
Sweet
friends.
Caroline, exchanging numbers, best friends. It's like you've been on a tour with people you've known your whole life by the end of the day. Consistently, almost every single
I'll
time.
say my favorite part about guiding the tours actually is every time you get back on the bus is the volume increases by like 25% every time. People talk a little closer to each other.
Yeah.
And
it's a real good time.
A lot more sing-alongs happen for sure.
So you're probably only like a few months away from your first Facebook post showing the first couple that the first marriage that you've
we have a couple of couples that come back all the time. It's like their favorite date night.
Yeah.
We just this last Frederick tour we had a couple that it was their 3rd time coming out, and for them it's just they love doing it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's easy. You show up and
we
take
do
care
try
of everything else.
We do try to rotate frequently in county which breweries we are going to. So even if I don't really want to drive. I'm from Frederick, but I don't want to drive to Baltimore to go on a tour. Fine, do the one in Frederick because it rotates almost every time it goes out. And you'll hit. We do Flying Dog every time because they're fantastic to partner with, and we start there. But then alternate 3 are different back to back.
Yeah, in this area, that's one. Well, actually, Maryland as a whole,
It's iconic.
It's one of the only breweries that's like a true brewery tour type thing.
Yeah.
Like that's where them, Union, Heavy Seas are the places you go to get a long walking tour to learn about a brewing facility.
Yeah.
And if you are thinking about going to one that's out of county from where you live, we partner with hotels for each of these. So our pickup and our drop-off locations are at hotels where we get discounted room rates and free parking and things like that. So
nice.
Kind of every step along the way, we're trying to add a little bit of value for our guests and
keeping people safe.
keeping people safe. Yeah.
So for the price of admission, you get transportation to all of the breweries. What do you get at each brewery?
So over the course of the day, we'll go to 4 breweries. We spend about an hour at each one. The first 15 minutes or so, we'll give you a drink ticket, which you could turn in for a pint of your choice. Then the next chunk of time is about 20 minutes or so. You'll get a behind-the-scenes tour. It's typically one of the folks from the brewery. It could be the owner, it could be the head brewer, it could be whomever, but somebody who really knows about the story.
Yeah.
And that tour is really, it's a little bit about the process of making beer, but it's really about what makes that brewery unique.
So you're getting a specialized tour on our tours at each brewery from what you would get if you went and set up a tour yourself.
Okay.
Because like you were saying, we really want to, if you were to go to 4 different breweries and all you're hearing is, here's your mash and your wort, and nobody wants to hear that 4 times in a row.
Yeah, you want to hear the story of the brewery.
Right. So we have the tour guides, or us if we're doing that, or whomever is doing the tour at that point. They pull out really the brewing process part and concentrate a lot more on the story of the brewery.
Yeah.
What got them into brewing, what makes them excited about continuing, et cetera, et cetera.
Another great way to learn that stuff is to listen to the Uncapped podcast.
I heard that.
Nice plug. So again, the tour is more about what makes them unique, a little bit about the brewing process. And then you have the remaining time, 20 minutes, whatever, to go back to the tap room, get yourself another pint if you'd like one. A lot of the times we'll have a food stop, or there'll be food trucks at the breweries. And then
there's always a food stop on every tour. Right. We make sure that you have the availability to get something to eat during, because
we're not
these
trying
5 hours.
Drunk cats. Please eat something.
Yeah.
And then when we leave, we'll always get a piece of swag, a hat, a T-shirt, a growler, something like that. And so on the bus, in transit to the next place, we'll do a trivia question, like a pop quiz based on the tour and a fun fact about
on the tour
brewery.
from that day. So if you were in there actively paying attention, you have a chance to win something from.
And we've gotten
that
some really
brewery
cool
like
swag from folks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the the bus tour part of the equation, is that you two doing that, or
we're not driving usually? I'd say 99% of the time we have a coach bus that we take. But most of the time it will be one of the 2 of us, or
we have a handful of tour guides.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll do the.
And as we grow, we're going to be looking for more. So if you're a beer nut and good with people, let us know.
Yes.
So that role in between them is like to.
We usually keep
beer.
We try to keep the drive time limited. We try to do 15, 20 minutes between each stop, so we're not spending.
Well, that's true. You're staying within county, so it's not a long. It's not a long
we
ride.
Really try to minimize the drive time enough where it makes sense to be, hiring someone to take you around, but so you're not spending half the day on a bus.
Right.
So we usually have the total drive time is about an hour, hour and a half, but you're spending 4 hours at a brewery or breweries.
Right.
So
out of 5.5 hours, 4 of them are at a brewery.
Yeah.
You've done some DC ones too, right?
We have not yet.
Nope.
Dude, I thought I saw one with DC Bra and.
They're.
Or are they lumped into another?
Thanks to an unfortunate scheduling that made it up on the website when it shouldn't have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're looking at expanding. I think we've come up with kind of a system that works really well. And we have a lot of room to grow in Maryland still. And once we really get that dialed in, We might expand outside of Maryland. People ask us all the time, hey, what about Virginia? What about Pennsylvania? There's so much good stuff around. And
I mean,
the
even
answer is
Leesburg is a stone's throw from where we're at right now, but it's easier for us to get there than it is to do other parts of Maryland. But because we're from Maryland, we would like to support that first and foremost.
And there's a lot of room for us to grow here. We want to get it right first, and then we might.
Graham, take down a note that surprisingly no one has started that in Loudoun County yet. Write that
down.
We know some people that can help you.
Another thing that we're looking at too is kind of doing some maybe cross-county tours where. So there's a lot of really unique farm breweries in the area, and a couple of them, 4 of them, are actually within a 15, 20-minute drive of each other.
Yeah, so, shoot at Manor Hill.
Red Shedman, Milk House, Fry's opening up another one out there.
Yeah.
There's quite
and
a few
then really
of them.
not that far as
right there. Stuff,
So you have all those guys right there that are true farmhouse distilleries. And another thing that... So we do occasionally throw distilleries onto the tour as well. It's not 100% breweries, but it's pretty close. One of the things that we're looking at doing next year also is maybe a progressive tour. So you get to see the entire process. We start at a brewery, go to a cidery, meadery, go to a vineyard, and then go to a distillery.
Oh, cool.
So you're actually seeing the difference in the distillation process from start to finish rather than just getting here's beer the whole time. And just another way to...
There's really nothing wrome with that, though.
No, nothing wrong with that at all.
But people start throwing
but we do get a lot of people. We do
Right.
actually have a lot of people that come out because they are home brewers. We actually had one guy come from Nigeria who was like, "There's only 2 beers in my country, and they suck." And he's like, "Nobody does home brewing," so he came over here to learn how to do it.
And he was nerdy.
Oh man, he was
notes
front row the whole time, paper and pad and everything.
It was a research assignment for him.
Yeah, I mean, but we put him in contact with a lot of stuff. I email with him occasionally, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's that's what we really want to support is.
He'll be starting the craft beer craze in Nigeria.
Yep. I just want to get a ticket to do his tour when it comes up. That's all.
And then, in addition to the cross county, just for like farm breweries, we also have, Jailbreak, Guinness, Heavy Seas, and some like Crooked Crab, like all right on the edge of those counties. And so it doesn't make sense to have that arbitrary division.
Delineation. Yeah.
So we're looking at doing a little bit of that. But really the most important thing is making it accessible to people, making sure everybody has a good time, making sure people are safe. So, and that's, if we can do that successfully, I think we're onto something.
Is it always in groups of 4?
It has been so far, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would really be hard to
you get
fit
into
in
a lot
another
of logistical issues if you go above that drive time, the time that you have the bus changes, and that increase by an hour goes up crazy, and an hour at a brewery is really
it's
enough.
Like the perfect amount of time. People are like,
because it gets them jazzed to come back there. If they really like it, they're like, "Oh, I really liked beer A, B, and C, and there's D through Y that I haven't tried."
Yeah, so it helps out the brewery.
Yep.
Besides just that,
and another benefit that we have to the breweries actually is a lot of the people that we bring are from out of the county that the brewery's actually in.
Okay.
So generally speaking, we have anywhere from 20 to 50% in county, but I'd say 50% is really high. We're usually closer to 20 or 30% people from in that county, and then we're 50% from in the state, and then the remainder from out of state. We have a lot of people come from Pennsylvania, DC, Virginia. We've had as far as New York and Florida already. So yeah, we that's an added value that we feel like we really bring to the breweries too, is getting a lot of people in there that wouldn't necessarily get there.
Yeah, the only other place I've seen doing this is in Pittsburgh, and it's not even the exact same model.
No, I went on one in Austin that was pretty good.
Okay.
The only real difference was the girl had been doing it for almost 9 years. They had a larger craft beer scene down there longer, and she just owned a minibus and drove it around herself. It was like, all right, that's not a bad business model. Yeah. But that was really great though. It was a little different. She did 3 in a day instead of 4, and but you did a more elaborate tasting at each one, which was kind of cool. So there's not a lot of similar things around here. So
there are ones that are close, but not like there's the Hops and Vine tours, but that's more of like a very personal, like you're with close friends.
2 or 3 times the cost of what you're paying to get on our bus.
But it's a much more personalized thing than you do that more of like a special personal like you don't want to be with a large group of people,
which we also do private tours.
Oh,
we
cool.
Do private groups. We have pretty frequently worked a lot of those out.
So
actually,
I'm working on we have a group of 35 that are getting together for a 40th birthday party. I have a joint bachelorette party that I'm putting together right now, and these are all private tours. They're not listed on the website. You can't sign up for them. But if you are interested, you have a big group for anything like a birthday party, bachelor.
Do you have
party.
A limit? The 50? Lowest
50.
What's the lowest that you'll do like the private ones for?
If you're 25 or under, we are, we'll happily set it up for you, but it may make more sense for you price-wise to just join onto a regular tour.
Okay.
And we'll just, we'll make sure that we have as many seats as we need to have reserved for you for that day. That's easily done. Mm-hmm. But we do have a lot of people that are like, I only have 20, but I still want a private bus. I'm like, all right, great. I'll come drink with you. That's fine.
So do you have your own bus, or you charter one? You charter one.
Charter. We have a transportation partner. Yeah.
Cool.
Air out of Howard County.
So do you get different size ones depending on what you have that weekend?
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah. And I could say we've been doing this for over a year, and I've done a bunch of these things, and it's always different. Even though you go back to the same one, the person giving the tour might be different. They might bust out some grains for you to taste, or let you taste a little bit of wort, or like they go into a different part of the science.
The beers are always different.
There's so much about the build out of the tap rooms or these crazy stories.
Yeah.
And I've never heard the same thing twice, which is part of what I really like about it, because, for the last couple months, I've only been on a few of them, but I went on the one last time. I was like,
he was like,
damn, I love this stuff. These are a lot of fun. I'm really glad we're doing this. But, it had been a little bit since I've been on one, and I was like, man, this is a really good time.
Well, and it's nice for me, too, because even as frequently as I do them, I don't hear stuff over and over again. It's consistently new, which is nice.
Yeah, every brewery owner I've met has plenty of stories that they can tell.
Yes.
And most of them are extremely good storytellers, which also helps a lot.
I think we have worked with, up to this point, probably 30 plus breweries.
Easily closer to 40.
40?
Yeah.
We've worked with a lot of different breweries. So we try to keep the rotation fresh.
40.
We have some new ones coming on, like in Howard County. Sapwood Cellars is about to come out. We were talking with some folks that are about to open up in Silver Spring, the folks up in Harford County.
Silver Branch and Falling Branch, and there's 5 that just opened up around Bel Air, which is what he was saying earlier. We're trying to set up it's still Baltimore technically, but it's 30 minutes away from Baltimore, so it's really a new area for us. But I'm super excited to go check that out. That'll be nice.
So do any of the breweries struggle to handle when 50 people show up at one time? Can that?
Yeah. So we work with. We really want to work for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So we've had some folks that say, "Hey, that's just too much. We can't pull somebody off the bar." And so we'll say, hey, okay, so if we don't want to impact your staffing or have you go out of your way to really accommodate us. So if we want to work together to come up with talking points and we can deliver the tour, we want it to work for everybody.
Or we'll make that stop a food stop.
Right.
So that there's no real tour there, and if people are interested, they can go chat up a bartender, and occasionally that brewery will say, all right, well, if we don't have to do a real tour, I can just have the brewer float around for a little bit.
And chat people up.
Yeah.
So we try to be as accommodating as possible to everybody. We really want it to work for the guests, for the breweries, for everybody involved. That's the whole idea. Right?
And for the really small places too, some of the farm breweries, what we'll do is if we do have a full load of 50, we'll split it. So as soon as we get in there, the first 25 people get a beer. They go in, they get their tour with half of the crowd, and then we swap it out, and that works because you still feel like you're really getting not necessarily one-on-one, but a lot more close to that than you would be had you gone in otherwise.
Yeah, because I'm sure like you show up at Flying Dog with 50 people, they can probably handle that much better than some of the places that have tiny and have just opened. So,
and 50,
but that
I
sounds
think,
like
is,
that sounds like the perfect way to handle that.
Or, for instance, Manor Hill, their tap room limit is 50, and so we'll just block out their tap room for that hour, and so they'll reserve the whole tap room for us for that hour. So that's
so if you live in Howard County and it's closed on your Saturday that you want to go for an extra hour, that's our fault.
Just come on the tour.
Yeah.
So what is the craziest story to come out of the tours?
I don't know about crazy, but one of my favorites definitely was we had a 40th birthday party.
Oh, that was great.
That had a group of maybe like 15, 20 people, something like
fantastic.
that. And the first guy shows up and he's got like a lion onesie. And he's wearing it, and there's nobody else there on the bus that's from this group. He just shows up in a onesie by himself, and I was like, I like this guy. We're going to hang out today. And then slowly, like, all the rest of them showed up, like, right before the bus left, and they had made papers that they passed out when we went to bars of, like, how to sing Happy Birthday in, like, Korean or Celtic or, like, Klingon or Wookiee. And it was like, okay, this is amazing. And they would literally just go to the bar halfway through whatever brewery we're at and hand them out, and then you'd have, like, 70 people in a brewery like sing Happy Birthday in Wookiee, and you had like deafening Wookiee noise, and I mean they had a blast the whole time.
One of my favorite pictures from the tour in general is from that. There's a guy in a Superman onesie coming out of the telephone booth at Jailbreak, and it is perfect. Like the moment, photo. It's like it's great. It's great. There's, as I was saying earlier, kind of in the morning, people are a little bit. You know, kind of in their little bubble a little bit until we really get going. But there's this one morning where we show up, the bus is full, and I put on some music, and I have a Maryland Brewery Tour Spotify playlist, and I hit shuffle. And the first song to come on was Sweet Caroline, and the entire bus is stone like cold sober.
11:45 in the morning.
Yeah,
and just
it's singing and just like having a blast. It's like, today's going to be a good day.
There's lots of good sing-alongs for sure.
So do you have do people for the most part behave themselves on the tours?
Yes.
Or do you have to deal with
knock on wood? We have not had any incidents, that's
impressive.
We generally get a really good group of folks.
Yeah, we really do get a lot of people that are truly interested in craft
Well, that's true.
beer.
I mean, like, while it's definitely a reasonable price for what you get, it's not cheap. So if you
don't get a lot of 21-year-olds.
Yeah, you're not spending that. You're not doing that because you want to, and you're not getting a ton of alcohol.
Right.
So it probably, the nature of it probably lends itself better for people who care about learling and experiencing as opposed to just wanting to get tanked.
It's a little bit of a classier product.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
people definitely get a buzz, but we haven't really had any issues with people getting out of line or too drunk, which is great.
I had one get close one day, and I had her go sleep on the bus for a whole stop, and that was that.
You need a timeout.
That's exactly what it was. I saw her doing the little like nod right when she got into the table.
She was like a nurse who had just come off an overnight shift.
She had been on like a
like
24-hour shift, so she wasn't like crazy
she
hammered.
Wasn't
it was just like,
she was just tired.
You look like you are because you're in a bar with a bunch of people that are drinking, so we're just going to take you on the bus and have you take a nap.
I think she said like thank you. It was like,
she was like thank you, and she was out like for the whole hour that we were there.
Thank you for the easy out.
Yes.
All right, so where do people go? When are your next ones? Just give all the details for everyone.
mdbrewerytours.com.
And we're on Facebook. All of the events are listed there. Right now, I have brewery tours up through November. There are more coming, so the remainder of the year should be posted.
And they are every weekend.
Yeah, so we're doing them every weekend, except for the weekend he's getting married.
Yeah.
Because
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All of our tour guides are going to be at the wedding.
Yeah.
So mdbrewerytours.com, Facebook at Maryland Brewery Tours. We have events up through November. There are more coming. And
at MD Brewery Tours on Instagram.
Yeah, and we have a couple of kind of special events coming up. So on October 27th, That is a Frederick tour. That's going to be a costume party. Because this is right before Halloween, so that's going to be fun. And
that's
then,
a good lineup of breweries also for it.
And then on November 24th, that one's not posted yet. We're waiting to confirm one last brewery. I talked to Vic the other day. That's going to be a Friendsgiving tour, so we'll probably do like a discounted rate for groups of people home for the holidays looking for a way to get together. And then on the 22nd of December, I haven't posted this yet. That one's confirmed. That route's all confirmed. That's also going to be a Frederick route, but that's going to be an ugly sweater party.
Cool.
So we have a couple of themed tours as well, just a little bit extra. A good way to have fun.
So which county is the best tours?
They're all great for different reasons, honestly. I've had that
looking
question
for a
asked to
Frederick
me.
plug right there.
Yeah, I've honestly had
Whatever
that,
you give, it's the wrong answer.
Yeah,
Unless you say Frederick.
yeah, I saw that look.
I've had that question asked to me so many times, and honestly, it's not easy to answer because there's so many different varieties of beer that you get to try at all them. Am I answering that based on the beer? Am I answering that based on the group of people I was with that day? Am I answering it based on the stories I got told by the brewers? What the breweries looked like? How was my drive? They're all great, honestly. They're all uniquely individual and fun.
You're correct, Frederick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you been to the New Old Mother yet?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's a lot. I've told them it's too nice.
Well,
for them.
What I am the most excited about seeing, honestly, is the cross-pollination of clientele from there to Guido's.
Yeah.
Like when you get some salmon-colored, pop-collared, boat shoe wearing people coming over, and it's like, what's happening in here?
But speaking of Frederick, we just added Smoketown Brewery Station to the route last time, so they're new on the route. That place is awesome.
It's really rad.
Yeah, it's super
I'm
cool.
excited for them to open up their event space upstairs, too.
Yeah.
We got a sneak peek up there last week, and it's going to be incredible.
Humongous.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's going to be really nice. It already is nice, but it's going to be extra nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that we will be doing something there, but I can't talk about it yet because who knows when
Yeah.
permits will be signed
exactly,
and
yeah.
clearances and all the fun stuff of
All the red
people.
tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks
for having us on.
I can vouch for how much fun the Hops and Harvest Festival is, so I urge people to do that. You have me sold on the brewery tours. Those sound amazing and fun.
Look forward to having you
Yeah, I
out
was going to say, I'm
sometime.
surprised we haven't had you out on one yet.
I have 2 kids and am busy.
It's work.
That's
Yeah, research.
Well, so I tell my wife that often that it's work. So there's only
excuses the whole plate out.
there's only so much